The Lost Colony of Roanoke is one of the most enduring mysteries of early American history. Established in 1587 on Roanoke Island, in what is now North Carolina, it was one of the first attempts by the English to colonize the New World. The colony, led by John White, faced challenges from the start, including scarce supplies and hostile relations with some Native American tribes. In 1587, John White sailed back to England to gather supplies, leaving behind about 115 colonists, including his daughter and his newborn granddaughter, Virginia Dare, the first English child born in America. White planned to return in a few months, but due to England's war with Spain and the Spanish Armada, his return was delayed for nearly 3 years. When White finally returned in 1590, he found Roanoke completely deserted. There was no sign of struggle, no bodies, and the buildings were dismantled, not destroyed. The only clue was the word Croton carved into a wooden post, and the letters CRO etched into a nearby tree. The Croton were a friendly Native American tribe living on a nearby island, leading White to believe the colonists might have relocated there. However, weather prevented him from investigating further, and he never found the colonists. When John White returned to Roanoke in 1590, the colony was deserted. The fact that there was no sign of a struggle was particularly eerie: no bodies, no traces of violence, just an empty settlement. Imagine coming back to a place that should be bustling with life, but instead is completely silent, as if everyone vanished in the blink of an eye. The dismantled buildings suggest the colonists left in an orderly fashion, yet they left behind no trace of where they went or what had happened. Some theorists argue that a peaceful migration wouldn't be done in such silence and without a message beyond the cryptic Croton. It leads to questions: were they led away by some malevolent force? Were they taken against their will but in a way that left no visible signs of violence? It's said that upon White's return, he found the personal effects of the colonists left behind, as though they intended to return. Weapons were discovered in their places, and food stores were untouched. This eerie normalcy, an entire colony frozen in time, conjures a sense of the supernatural or something that forced them to leave abruptly but mysteriously. The word Croton carved into a post and the letters CRO on a nearby tree are the only clues left behind by the Roanoke colonists. While White interpreted this as a message indicating they had moved to the nearby Croton Island, the truth remains elusive, and the single word is unnervingly cryptic. The word Croton itself has taken on a sinister life in folklore. Over time, the name became associated with disappearances and death. Edgar Allan Poe, in his delirious final moments, is said to have uttered the word Croton before his mysterious death. The phrase has also been linked to other disappearances, like the unsolved disappearance of Amelia Earhart. This repetitive connection to unexplained deaths and disappearances fuels the theory that the word was more of a curse or dark omen than a relocation clue. The partially carved CRO on the tree adds to the creepiness. Did someone try to write another message but was interrupted by some unseen force? Was something hunting them, and the colonists tried to leave one last clue? The unfinished nature of the carving has led to wild speculation about what, or who, interrupted the person carving it. Some of the Native American tribes in the region passed down unsettling stories about the colonists of Roanoke, and these tales cast a shadow over what might have happened. One of the most unsettling stories told by the Croton and Hatteras tribes is that the colonists did not vanish into thin air but were instead transformed into spirits. These spectral figures, with pale, ghostly faces, were said to wander the forests of Roanoke Island, silently appearing to those who strayed too far into the wilderness. The idea that the colonists became ghosts or were consumed by some spiritual force is both a haunting and eerie possibility. It suggests they were cursed, unable to rest in peace, forever haunting the land they tried to settle. Another variation of the legend claims that the colonists, or at least some of them, were possessed by a powerful force and took on strange, animal-like forms. Shape-shifting spirits are a common element in some Native American folklore, and there are hints that the colonists may have angered a powerful spiritual force. The thought that they were either cursed to roam the woods as animals or that they were overtaken by something malevolent adds a supernatural twist to their fate. In the late 1930s, a series of stones, known as the Dare Stones, were found with engravings that claimed to tell the fate of the lost colonists. Supposedly carved by Eleanor Dare, John White's daughter, the stones painted a picture of tragedy, hardship, and death. While some of the stones are believed to be a hoax, the first stone found is still regarded by some historians as potentially authentic. The inscriptions on the first Dare stone described how the colonists faced death from sickness and attacks by hostile tribes. Eleanor Dare allegedly recounted that her husband and daughter, Virginia, died early on, and that most of the colony had been killed. The message ends with a chilling plea for help which stated, "Father, soon after you go for England, we came here. Only misery and war remains. The savages kill us all. My child and Ananias are dead. The spirits of the woods are restless. It was not just men who hunted us." Whether real or imagined, the engraving that mentions restless spirits of the woods hints at a darker, more supernatural explanation for the colony's demise. Some believe these stones serve as a final testimony of what happened to the colonists, who were not only physically defeated but spiritually haunted. The fate of Roanoke has attracted supernatural theories for centuries, particularly given the eerie circumstances of the colony's disappearance. Roanoke Island lies in what has been dubbed the Bermuda Triangle of the North, an area where ships and people have been reported to vanish under mysterious circumstances. Some locals believe the colonists may have been taken by a supernatural force that lurks in the region, whisked away to another dimension or trapped in a time loop. This idea aligns with theories that they were victims of some cosmic phenomenon, removed from history without a trace. One of the more bizarre theories claims the colonists encountered an ancient and malevolent spirit or deity linked to the land. The Native Americans warned them to leave the land undisturbed, but the settlers ignored these warnings and paid the ultimate price. This theory builds on the idea that Roanoke Island was cursed or guarded by supernatural forces that took their revenge on the settlers. While not as supernaturally terrifying, the theory of environmental disaster also adds to the grim tone of the Roanoke story. Research conducted on tree rings from the area shows that Roanoke Island suffered from a severe drought during the period when the colony was established. This drought would have made farming and hunting difficult, pushing the colonists to the brink of starvation. Some theorists believe that in their desperation, the settlers either tried to integrate with local native tribes or set off in search of more hospitable land, only to die along the way. The harsh conditions may have driven them to madness, adding a psychological horror to their fate. One theory suggests that after exhausting all their resources, the colonists marched into the wilderness in search of food and safety, but one by one they succumbed to the elements, disease, or attacks from hostile forces. Their bodies, left scattered across the land, may have decomposed or been taken by predators, leaving no trace for White to find when he returned. The Lost Colony of Roanoke stands as one of history's most disturbing mysteries. The cryptic markings, ghostly legends, and lack of evidence all lend an eerie atmosphere to the story. Whether they were taken by supernatural forces, cursed by an ancient spirit, or simply vanished without a trace into the wilderness, the unknown fate of Roanoke settlers continues to unsettle and fascinate to this day.